We know that lack of sleep can make us grumpy and foggy. While even a day without a proper sleep can cause much troubles, what can 15 days without even a tiny nap do to us? Sleep is a time for rejuvenation and repair. Without sleep, our body loses immune functions and dies in a few weeks. Would someone want to experiment with that? And as we all know, some experiments can go wrong too. Keep watching to know about the horrific sleep experiment that went wrong. The Russian sleep experiment is one of the most famous and horrific experiments gone wrong. But some people claim that the experiment never happened. Today we are going to find out. This famous story, true or not, recounts an experiment that took place at a test facility in the Soviet Union in the late 1940s. So it's 1940s and the Soviets found a stimulant that could keep a person awake for long hours, which is handy when you're fighting a war. In the Second World War, the Germans had their version of such a stimulant. The Americans and the Britishers would dose their troops too with a similar stimulant. These Soviets were looking for an upgrade in these and decided to use their own version of a drug. They made something advanced and special, but they needed to test it on humans. Those days it was not hard to find test subjects, since prisoners of war was aplenty in the 1940s. In the military-sanctioned scientific experiment, 5 political prisoners were kept in a sealed gas chamber with a continually administered air-borne stimulant for keeping the subjects awake for 30 consecutive days. The prisoners were falsely promised that they will be set free from the prison if they complete the experiment. The subjects behaved as usual during the initial days, talking to each other and whispering to the researchers through the one-way glass, though it is noted that the discussions gradually became darker in the subject matter. After 9 days, one subject begins screaming uncontrollably for hours while the others have no reaction to his outburst. The man screamed for so long that he tore his vocal cords. The man didn't know why he was screaming. He was paralyzed. When the second one started screaming, the others prevented the researchers from looking inside by pasting torn book pages and their own faces on the porthole windows. A few days passed without the researchers being able to look inside, during which the chamber was completely silent. The researchers used the intercom to test if the subjects were still alive, and got a short response of a subject expressing compliance. On the 15th day, the researchers decided to turn off the stimulating gas and reopen the chamber. Upon looking inside, they discovered that the 4 surviving subjects have performed deadly and severe damage and disembowel on themselves during the past days, including tearing of flesh and muscles, removing multiple abdominal internal organs, practicing self-cannibalism, and allowing 10 centimeters, that is 4 inches of blood and water to accumulate on the floor. The subjects also violently refused to leave the chamber and begged the scientists to continue administering the stimulant, murdering one soldier and severely injuring another who was attempting to remove them. After eventually being removed from the chamber, all subjects were shown to exhibit extreme strength, unprecedented resistance to drugs and sedatives, superhuman abilities to remain alive despite the lethal injuries, and a desperate desire to stay awake and being given the stimulant. It was also found that any one of the subjects who fall asleep dies instantly. After being treated for their injuries, the surviving 3 subjects were prepared to return to the gas chamber with the stimulant, with EKG monitors showing short recurring moments of brain death. Before the chamber was sealed, one of the subjects falls asleep and dies, and one researcher draws a gun and kills another subject as well as a staff member. With only one surviving subject, the researcher asked what he was, to which the subject identifies himself as an inherent evil inside the human mind that is kept in check by the act of sleeping. The researcher shoots the prisoner in his heart, saying his final words. The Russian sleep experiment became immensely popular upon its original publication. It is considered by some of the most greatest and most shared creepypasta story ever. Much of the online and offline debate surrounds the belief held by many that the story is real rather than fiction, and many articles therefore seek to debunk their claim. There is also much discussion of the viral nature of the creepypasta stories more generally. The Russian sleep experiment's popularity has led to various adaptations over the years. A novel inspired by the original short story was published in the 2015, but it is now out of print. In the early 2018, a psychological thriller based on the short story began production, and it is said to be released in the 2020. Several other adaptations have been created, including a film based on the short story. However, when the Russian government were questioned about this experiment and how could they use their prisoners as lab rats, they denied it, stating that one such experiment never happened.